Have you ever met someone and felt like you just stepped straight into a romantic movie? Everything is just too perfect. On the very first date, they look deep into your eyes and tell you they've never felt a connection this strong. By week 2, expensive bouquets of flowers are arriving at your office. They text you from the moment they wake up until they close their eyes to sleep. They call you their soulmate, they talk about European getaways, moving in together, and a future you've always dreamed of. You feel like you are floating on cloud 9. You think to yourself, finally, I found the one. But then, a few months later, the mask slips. And heaven turns into an absolute nightmare. Welcome to Valid Voice, the podcast where your silent struggles are heard, understood, and most importantly, validated. I'm your host, and today, we are stripping down one of the most dangerous and devastating psychological traps in modern dating culture, love bombing. How do you know if someone is genuinely head over heels in love with you, or if they are just love bombing you to manipulate and control you? To answer this, let's listen to Chloe's story. Chloe is 29, a nurse living in Chicago. She had just gotten out of an exhausting 2-year relationship and was tentatively dipping her toes back into dating on Hinge. That's when she met Mark. Mark was the blueprint of perfection. During their very first coffee date, he paid attention to every single tiny detail about her. When Chloe casually mentioned her love for an obscure indie band, Mark showed up at her door 2 days later with VIP tickets to their concert. Chloe was swept off her feet. Within 3 weeks, Mark was staying at her apartment almost every night. He would say things like, "I've never met anyone like you, you're the only woman who truly understands me, and I can't imagine my life without you now." When Chloe mentioned that things were moving a little fast, Mark looked at her with deeply wounded eyes and said, "When you find your soulmate, why wait?" Chloe was sold. She stopped seeing her friends on the weekends to dedicate all her time to Mark. She felt like the luckiest woman in the world. But by month 3, everything changed in a chilling way. The intense affection suddenly morphed into suffocating control. When Chloe went out to dinner with her girlfriends and didn't answer Mark's texts for 2 hours, she walked out to her car to find 14 missed calls. When she called him back, he wasn't worried, he was furious. He accused her of being inconsiderate and not prioritizing the relationship. Then came the silent treatment. The man who used to text her 50 times a day suddenly vanished, offering no explanation for 3 days, simply because she wouldn't cancel a weekend hospital shift to go on a trip with him. Chloe went from a confident woman to a panicked, anxious shell of herself, constantly apologizing for mistakes she didn't even make, desperately begging for the perfect Mark from those first few weeks to come back. What she didn't know was that the perfect Mark never existed. It was a performance. Chloe had become a victim of love bombing. So, what exactly is love bombing? Put simply in psychological terms, love bombing is a manipulation tactic. It is when someone drowns you in extreme, overwhelming attention, affection, gifts, and promises during the very early stages of a relationship. The goal is not to love you, the goal is to disarm your defense mechanisms. Manipulators, particularly narcissists, use love bombing to make you emotionally dependent on them. They flood your brain with massive hits of dopamine. You become addicted to the feeling of being worshipped by them. And once you are hooked, once you are isolated from your friends and family, they initiate the second phase, devaluation. They withdraw the affection, they start criticizing, controlling, and gaslighting you. And because you are so addicted to that original perfect version of them, you will do anything, tolerate any abuse, just hoping to win that version back. The biggest confusion we face is failing to distinguish between the genuine honeymoon phase of true love and love bombing. When you truly fall for someone, the infatuation is real. You want to spend time together, you text more than usual, you might be a little cheesy. That is normal. So where is the line? The line is drawn at pacing and respect for boundaries. True love is like building a house. You have to dig the foundation, lay brick by brick. It takes time. You learn about each other's quirks, flaws, and bad habits. Love bombing is like someone delivering a cardboard castle to your lot and telling you to move in immediately. There is no foundation. How can someone passionately love the core of who you are after knowing you for 10 days? They don't love you. They love the idea of turning you into their puppet. If you are wondering whether your new partner is love bombing you, pay close attention to these 3 major red flags. Red flag number 1, future faking. If you have been dating for a month and they are already picking out names for your future children, talking about buying a house together, or pressuring you for a lifetime commitment, step back. Mature love takes time to observe. It is not built on empty, grandiose promises. Red flag number 2, suffocation and isolation. If their love makes you feel like you have no room to breathe, no time for your own hobbies or your family, that is not romance. A healthy partner encourages you to maintain your individuality. A love bomber wants to be the only center of your universe, so that when they pull away, you completely collapse. And red flag number 3, the ultimate test, how they react to the word no. The next time they make an unreasonable demand or want to see you when you are genuinely exhausted, say no. Someone who truly loves you will say, "Oh, that's a bummer, but get some rest, we'll see each other another time." A love bomber? They will crumble. They will play the victim. They will say, "I do everything for you, and this is how you treat me?" They will use guilt to force you to break your own boundaries. If you are listening to this podcast and realizing you have been, or currently are, in a relationship like this, I need you to hear me loud and clear. Do not blame yourself. You are not stupid. You are not naive. Love bombing is brilliantly designed to bypass human logic. Anyone with a heart that wants to be loved can fall for it. The manipulator weaponized your best qualities, your empathy, your compassion, and your sincerity against you. You have the right to a peaceful love. True love shouldn't feel like a roller coaster that leaves you nauseous and terrified. True love feels like a quiet Sunday afternoon. It might not be explosive, there might not be fireworks every single day, but it is safe, it is steady, and it allows you to be exactly who you are without fear. The next time you enter a relationship and it feels like everything is moving at the speed of light, hit the brakes. The person trying to manipulate you will get impatient and leave. But the person who truly values you, they will happily wait for you at the next stop. Thank you so much for listening to Valid Voice today. Have you ever experienced love bombing? How did testing the word no save you? Please share your stories in the comments below. This is a safe, non-judgmental space, and I deeply appreciate every single one of your messages. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can continue healing and decoding the messy reality of modern relationships together. Until next time, protect your heart, take it slow, and remember, you always deserve the truest kind of love.